Making do. For the purposes of this presentation, we regard making do as making by non-specialists, the production of material things as a part of everyday living, using the stuff around us. This includes small modifications of existing things and spaces, adapting an artifact to new uses, and repair of things that have been broken or altered through use. Everything has a surface that interfaces with other things, and this is where most of the action is. There is a spectrum of connection from weak to rigid. Making do is gentle in a specific sense, where gentleness is the quality of a relationship that is not dominated by the elimination of uncertainty. The concept of gentleness helps us to move uncertainty away from the feeling of ineptitude and weakness. It replaces the intense, linear, growth-inducing properties of certitude with the slow, key, and non-linear emergence of mess, which is both the essence of design and a key aspect of an anarchy of care. Making do is thus a dynamic and knowledge-generating practice, which regards the unknown as essential to design. Embracing the uncertain can be seen as an important part of living well. In a pattern language, Christopher Alexander and his little-mentioned colleagues Ishikawa, Silverstein, Jacobson, King, and Angel present gradual stiffening as a process of construction which makes it possible to build structures which are adapted to individual needs and sites. Structures start out loose and flimsy and stiffen during construction so that each additional act makes the structure sounder. Materials used at the start are strong. As building continues, the materials chosen become gradually more flexible and giving. This allows the entire building process to be a creative act. Things can be moved around before they are set. New materials have to adapt to the framework in place, meaning that each new material must be more adaptable, flexible, more capable of coping with variation than the ones before. Through the lens of gradual stiffening, the act of making resembles that of an experienced craftsperson rather than a novice. The experienced maker keeps on going, confident that some later action can put things right if need be. They never take a step which cannot be corrected later. They can keep working confidently, steadily. Conversely, a novice works in fear. They fear causing unretractable problems down the line. This requires spending hours figuring out things in advance and working to exact drawings that will prevent mistakes. In other words, the novice has not yet learned how to do things in such a way so as to afford to make small mistakes. In this light, the modern construction industry has the character of a novice's work, not relaxed, not able to deal with earlier mistakes at a later time through making do. It is uptight, panic-stricken in its attention to detail, without the relaxed and casual wisdom of the mature, experienced maker. This results in unnecessarily and grotesquely expensive methods. Unlike Lego or Meccano, building through gradual stiffening is not based on precise joinery or exact matching holes. It's something more fuzzy. Connections repeated and gradually strengthened over time. Holes, lattice, interwoven strips, sticks, twisted wire binding sticks together, fabric strips wrapping around. The stuff might be weak, but together it forms a coherent structure that supports itself and others.
The above discussion and examples highlight the fact that the day-to-day relationships of people who live with things is very different from the relationship between a designer and the designed. They leave room for ambiguity and personalization over the long term. If public spaces are maintained by city workers to a certain standard of cleanliness, where resident modifications are not tolerated and removed regularly, it would mean that no one truly owns the public spaces. Thus, they cannot be shared. Anarchist philosopher Max Stirner would say that we can never own such public space, which prohibits unsanctioned individual use. In Stirner's terms, gradual stiffening by making doing in public spaces would be a form of ownership. You can reach out your hands and take, enjoy, and consume it as your own, while not preventing others from being able to use it. If everything that you desire and have the capacity to grasp is yours, and if you prefer to have enjoyable and pleasant relations with those around you, then you may very well work out together ways for dealing with what is yours, mine, ours, so that all we need and desire is readily and freely accessible to anyone. In the current growth-oriented cities, this idea of making one's own property seems radical, unrealistic. But as soon as we remember where birds build their nests, we realize that perhaps it is our current situation that is weird, to say the least.
Through our investigations, we have come to understand gradual stiffening through making do as a method of hope for the specific way that hope relates to flexibility, ambiguity, playfulness, stories, and wasted effort, and the fact that hope's resilience comes from a slow process of replication and reorientation, which is core to the process of making do. Hope is a wasteful space that can be evaluated for its productivity in advance. Put the other way around, the growth imperative reduces space for ambiguity, which thus produces a society of hopelessness. The method of hope may be a practice that opens up alternative ways to understand, intervene, and expand issues. It is an impulse that cracks open the system.